My family went to my birthday dinner without me and posted photos. I texted, "Save me some cake." Then I cut them off financially. 1 month later, they are threatening me to pay after their rent and bills are due. I, 28 male, Ryan, am a creature of habit and, I suppose, a creature of misguided generosity. For the last 5 years, ever since I landed a senior developer position that paid more than I ever anticipated, I've been the financial bedrock for my family. My mom, Sharon, 58, lost my dad young and lives on a meager survivor's pension. My sister, Laura, 26, is a stay-at-home mom to 2 kids, and her husband, Jason, 29, works sporadic cash-in-hand construction jobs that are more miss than hit. So, I stepped in. It wasn't a formal agreement, just a gradual absorption of their expenses. First, I took over their rent for the 3-bedroom house they live in, paid directly to the landlord, a clean $2,200 a month. Then came the utilities, another $400 or so. Then a monthly transfer of $800 to my mom for groceries and whatever else she needed. It was a lot. It was close to half my take-home pay. But it bought me peace of mind, or so I thought. The arrangement worked in a functional sense. They were housed and fed. I was the reliable son, the good brother. But over time, the gratitude faded into expectation. My contributions weren't seen as gifts, but as dues. My role in the family had been distilled down to a single function: provider. In retrospect, I see that I didn't just help them. I enabled them. I created the very dependency that would eventually lead to this. My 28th birthday was last month. I'm not a huge birthday guy, but I have a favorite restaurant, a cozy, slightly upscale French place called La Belle Vie. It's where I take people I care about. A week before, I'd floated the idea in the family group chat. "Hey, for my birthday next Tuesday, would you guys be up for dinner at La Belle Vie?" The excuses trickled in. "Mom, oh honey, I'd love to, but my sciatica is acting up terribly. I don't think I can sit in a restaurant chair for that long. We'll have to do something quiet at home soon." So sorry, Ryan. Jason just picked up a big job and we're going to be working late all week trying to get ahead. Rain check? I was disappointed, but what could I do? I replied, "No problem, understand completely. We'll celebrate another time." So on the evening of my 28th birthday, I ordered a mediocre pizza, cracked open a beer, and settled in to watch a movie. Around 9 p.m., feeling a bit lonely, I started scrolling through social media, and there it was. A new post from Laura, a bright, beaming picture, at a restaurant, at La Belle Vie. The 4 of them, Mom, Laura, Jason, and even Jason's perpetually unimpressed sister, Rebecca, were squeezed into a booth. Mom, whose sciatica was supposedly so debilitating, was leaning forward with a huge grin, raising a glass of wine. On the table, in the center of the frame, was a slice of the restaurant's famous chocolate lava cake, a single candle flickering on top. The caption, written by Laura, read, "A much-needed family dinner to celebrate a very special day. So blessed to have these people in my life." I stared at the screen. The pizza in my stomach turned to lead. It wasn't just that they went out. It wasn't just that they lied. It was the calculated cruelty of it all. They went to my favorite restaurant, the one I had specifically suggested on my birthday without me. And then they posted it online. They weren't just excluding me, they were performing a celebration of my absence. The cake was the final, brutal twist of the knife. A birthday cake for a birthday boy who wasn't there. My first impulse was a hot, white flash of rage. I wanted to call and scream. But that's not me. My anger runs cold, it crystallizes. I took a deep breath, my fingers hovering over my phone. I opened our group chat, the one full of their lame excuses. My thumbs moved with a strange, detached calm. I typed, "Wow, looks like fun. The lava cake at La Belle Vie is the best. Save me some cake." Then I put my phone on silent. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in my quiet apartment, the silence buzzing around me. I thought about the thousands of dollars I sent them every month. I thought about the sacrifices I'd made, the vacations I'd skipped, the investments I'd postponed. I thought about my mom's smile in that picture, a smile I hadn't seen directed at me in years. I wasn't a son to them. I was a sponsor, and my sponsorship had just been terminated. The next morning, I made 4 methodical changes to my finances. The first was an email to their landlord. I explained that as of the 1st of the upcoming month, I would no longer be paying the rent for that property. I was polite but firm. He was confused but said, "Okay, as long as the tenants know they're responsible." The second and third were calls to the electric and gas companies. Same conversation. "Remove my payment information. The accounts are in Jason's name. He is now the sole party responsible for payment." The final action was logging into my bank account. I canceled the recurring $800 transfer to my mother. Then I canceled the automatic $450 monthly payment I was making to the finance company for Jason's car lease. The lease was in his name, but I'd absorbed the cost years ago. That was over too. I felt a profound, chilling sense of calm. The die was cast. Now, all I had to do was wait for the first of the month. Update 1. It started as I expected, not with an apology, but with confusion and panic. The first of the month was a Tuesday. I didn't hear anything until Friday afternoon. My phone rang, and it was Laura. Her tone was breezy, but with a slight, tight edge. "Hey Ryan, so weird question. Did you forget to pay the rent? The landlord, Mr. Jeffrey, just called and was being a total jerk. Said it was late and that we have until the 10th before he files for eviction." I let the silence hang for a second before I replied. "No, Laura, I didn't forget." "Oh," she said. A pause. "So, is there a problem with your bank? Should I call him back and tell him it's a mistake?" "There's no mistake," I said, my voice even. "I'm no longer paying your rent." The line went dead quiet. I could hear her breathing, a quick, sharp intake of air. What do you mean you're not paying it? You always pay it." This was the crux of their reality. My actions were as predictable as the sunrise. "Yes, I did, and now I've stopped," I replied. "The lease is in your and Jason's name. It's your responsibility." The manufactured breeziness in her voice vanished, replaced by a sharp, ugly whine. "Ryan, what the hell? You can't just do that. We don't have $2,200. Why are you doing this?" "Why do you think, Laura?" "I don't know," she shrieked, the victimhood already in full swing. "Is this about that stupid dinner? Oh my God, you're not still mad about that, are you? Are you really going to make my kids homeless over a dinner? It wasn't a stupid dinner. It was my birthday dinner, which you lied about to exclude me," I said calmly. "And I'm not making your kids homeless. You and Jason are responsible for housing your own children. That's what parents do." She started sputtering about how I was being cruel and petty, how I always got over things, and I should just get over this too. That was the line that sealed it. They were so certain of my compliance they didn't even see the betrayal as a risk. I just said, "This is my decision, it's final," and hung up. 30 seconds later, my mom called. The master of the guilt trip. "Ryan," she began, her voice trembling with manufactured tears. "What is this I hear from your sister? You've cut us off? How could you? After all I've done for you, to throw your poor mother out on the street? Mom, you went to my favorite restaurant on my birthday with the rest of the family after lying to my face about why you couldn't go. You looked perfectly happy in the photos." "It was a last-minute thing," she insisted, her voice rising. "Jason's sister Rebecca was in town and wanted to treat us. We were going to tell you. You're taking this all the wrong way. Your father, God rest his soul, would be ashamed of you right now." Ashamed. This was her nuclear option, the disappointed dead dad card. It used to work, not anymore. "My father would be ashamed that his family treats his son like an ATM," I said, my voice colder than I intended. "I'm also no longer transferring your monthly allowance. The utility bills and the car payment are your responsibility too. You all need to figure it out." I hung up before she could start crying for real. Then came Jason. He didn't call, he sent a volley of texts. "Jason, you better turn that money back on right now. This isn't a game. You think you can just pull the plug?" "Laura is crying. Your mom is a wreck. This is on you. You have no idea the trouble you're in." I read them, saved screenshots, and didn't reply. The most telling part of it all? Not one of them contained a genuine apology. They weren't sorry they hurt me. They were terrified that the gravy train had finally pulled into its final station. Update 2. The last couple of weeks have been an education in the depths of human entitlement. As planned, the morning after Jason's threat to show up at my job, I went to my office an hour early. I scheduled a meeting with Angela, our head of HR, and Edward, the head of building security. I was calm, professional. I laid out the situation simply. "I've recently had to cease financial support for some family members," I explained, "and the situation has become volatile. They've made threats to show up here. I want to get ahead of it to ensure there's no disruption." They were incredible. Edward, a former police officer, took the threats seriously. I gave them photos of Laura, Jason, and my mother. His team was briefed. Angela created an official record of Jason's harassment. It was a massive weight off my shoulders. I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was building a fortress. The smear campaign began that week. I got a call from my Aunt Cynthia, my dad's sister. She's always been a straight shooter. "Ryan, what in the world is going on?" she asked. I just got off the phone with Sharon. She was sobbing. Said you had some kind of breakdown and cut them all off over a simple misunderstanding. I took a deep breath and told Cynthia the whole story. The lies, the specific restaurant, the birthday cake, the social media post. I forwarded her the photo. There was a long silence on her end. Then a heavy sigh. "Oh, Sharon," she whispered. "That girl has always been selfish, but this is a new low. Don't you worry, honey. I know who you are." Then came the first of their dirty tricks, and it was so laughably petty it almost made me smile. I was reviewing my credit card statement and noticed a $75.99 charge for a Mega Streamer bundle. It was a package I'd signed up for them years ago. Netflix, Disney+, Max, the works. It was one of the last remaining financial tendrils. With a few clicks, it was gone. 3 days later, my phone rang. It was Laura. I'd unblocked her number out of a morbid curiosity. "Really, Ryan?" she snapped. "You canceled the streaming services? Now what are the kids supposed to watch?" I was genuinely stunned. "Are you serious? You're being evicted and you're worried about Netflix? It's the one thing that keeps them occupied while I'm trying to figure out this mess you made," she screeched. I hung up and blocked her again. The sheer audacity was breathtaking. The real escalation happened last Thursday. Jason actually showed up at my work's parking garage. Security intercepted him. He made a scene and was escorted off the property with a formal trespass warning. Edward now had his license plate and a formal report of the incident. It backfired spectacularly on them, giving me another brick for my fortress. Today, a new piece of mail arrived. A crisp, cream-colored envelope from a scuzzy-looking law firm. They were threatening to sue me for breach of a verbal contract and familial duty. It was a complete bluff, but it was a clear signal. They've decided to go to war. They just don't realize I've been preparing for battle since the day they ate my birthday cake. Final update. The past month has been the final, crashing crescendo of the symphony of consequences my family composed. I took their lawyer's letter to a highly respected family law firm. A partner, Miss Davis, read through my evidence. The bank statements showing the voluntary payments, the birthday post, the threatening texts, the HR report, and the official trespass warning for Jason. Her response was a wry smile. "Mr. Hayes," she said, "they don't have a case. In fact, you do." She drafted a cease and desist letter, so sharp it could cut glass. It systematically dismantled their claims and pivoted to a counter-threat, referencing Jason's harassment at my workplace and stating that any further contact would result in my immediate filing for a restraining order against all three of them. The silence that followed was absolute. The real consequences, however, were happening in the real world. Aunt Cynthia called me a couple of weeks after the eviction, sounding weary. "Ryan, I thought you should know. They're in a motel off the highway. It's not good." The house of cards didn't just fall. It was obliterated. The car was the next to go. It was a lease solely in Jason's name, but with the automatic payments from my account stopped, it was repossessed from the motel parking lot. Without it, Jason's ability to haul tools and materials to different construction sites vanished overnight. His already sporadic work dried up completely. Laura, who hadn't worked in 5 years, had to take the first job she could find, the late-night shift at a 24-hour diner, slinging hash browns for minimum wage. The social fallout was just as devastating. Once Aunt Cynthia started cautiously telling our side, the family narrative shifted. Their story of my instability crumbled against the hard proof of their betrayal. The final, pathetic communication came last week, a text to my work phone. The number must have been on an old emergency contact card she'd kept. The desperation of it was chilling. "Laura, I hope you're happy. I hope you're sitting in your nice apartment, enjoying your money, knowing you did this. You destroyed our family. The kids are sleeping in a motel because of you. My fingers trembled slightly as I held the phone. I thought about the grief, the therapy sessions, the loneliness, and then I thought about the blissful, uncomplicated peace of my quiet apartment. I thought about the vacation I was planning, a 2-week trip to Japan, something I could never have afforded while bankrolling their lives. I typed my reply. Me, no. You did. You destroyed it the moment you decided that a free piece of cake was worth more than my self-respect. You weren't a family. You were a subscription service, and I finally canceled. I wish you the best. It was a lie. I didn't wish them the best. I wished them exactly what they had earned. But it sounded final. Then I blocked the number. Aunt Cynthia gave me one last update a week ago, saying it was the last time she could talk about it for her own sanity. My mom, Sharon, unable to stand the motel, had called a distant cousin and was now living in a spare room in another state. Laura and Jason were still at the motel, the fighting constant and vicious. The kids were caught in the middle, the true, innocent victims. That part hurts. It's a dull, constant ache. I've started a trust fund for my niece and nephew, putting a significant portion of the money I'm no longer spending on their parents into it. My lawyer is managing it, and they'll get it when they turn 21. It's the only way I can help them without enabling their parents. As for me, I'm not happy in the way you see in movies. Cutting off your family, even when it's necessary, feels like amputating a limb that has gone septic. You're healthier for it, you'll survive now, but you still feel the phantom pain. But I am free. The constant, low-grade anxiety is gone. The weight of their expectations has been lifted. My apartment is quiet, but it's a peaceful quiet now, not a lonely one. I'm sleeping through the night for the first time in years. I didn't get my slice of birthday cake that night. Instead, I got my life back. And as it turns out, that's a much, much sweeter deal.